OU softball had some very good and some needs to be better over the weekend in Arizona as the Sooners exit the weekend with a 3-1 record. Huge comeback win on Sunday afternoon that showed a lot of grit, a lot of toughness. Big reason why I think the weekend overall was a success. Let's talk about what we learned. I think we learned a lot of things, but let's talk about 5 things that we did learn from the Sooners over the weekend. I think we found out this team is very mentally tough. Saturday and Sunday wins, I think, showed exactly that. There was a comment on the page on how Patty probably yelled at them after the Friday loss. And I just don't think that that's how it went down. I think the players on this team, they set their own standards and expectations. They didn't need to be yelled at by Patty or any other members of the coaching staff to respond. Patty herself said that they were embarrassed and they came out the next day themselves and they fixed it. They delivered the knockout blow on Saturday within the first 15 minutes of first pitch. The crowd was never into it whatsoever. OU suffered its first loss of the season. And how did they respond? Well, they responded by scoring 21 runs, which is the most against a ranked team in OU program history. And then on Sunday's win, it kind of felt like you were playing from behind the entire day. And you just kept fighting and you kept chipping away. But then you'd make a base running mistake or not fully take advantage of an opportunity with runners on base. Like the offense just wasn't there like it was the night before. But when you needed a run in the 7th, you got 2. You got back-to-back home runs. You won the game, and you made some plays late defensively when you need it. This team is tough, and I'm glad they got the challenge that they did on the road this first weekend, so we can already see what they're already all about, and they've shown themselves. They're not out of it. They're never out of it. This team, they're tough, man. They're tough. I also think we learned that Audrey Lowry is the star of the pitching staff right now. She was excellent. She located all of her pitches the entire weekend. She was just in complete command. Not a ton of strikeouts, but she also didn't allow a lot of hard hit balls. That's very important. Her pitch count was consistently low. In fact, it was so low on Saturday, it allowed her to come back and pitch 5+ innings on Sunday and help get that win. She didn't mess around. She just came after hitters and located all of her pitches. Absolutely fantastic weekend. And if you care about the ace discussion right now, I mean, that's who it is. It's Audrey Lowry. I was also impressed with Alyssa Parker. Hey, put in a tough spot on Friday night. First ever appearance in an OU uniform, and it's a start on the road in the circle against a top 20 Arizona team. What do you got, freshman? Let's see it. I thought she was solid. I don't think she was elite. I don't think she was great, but I thought she was solid given the circumstances. I think that's an arm that OU will rely on as a starter moving forward. The downside this weekend, just way too many walks at times. KD had her rough outing on Sunday, just walked too many hitters. You got to be better there. And I think if that outing from KD happens later in the season, I think she probably gets pulled earlier, but I think Patty wanted to see if she could climb out of that early hole that she was in, and she just wasn't able to. Interesting that we didn't see much Sydney Berzon at all. She didn't start a game in any of the first 4 games of the season. To get an idea maybe why that's the case, here's what Patty said on the OU softball pregame show with Chris Plank. Here's what she said before the Sunday game on Sydney Berzon.
You know, her ball moves so much that sometimes you see some walks because the ball moves so much, which is a good thing, but it's moving out of the zone. So we just got to get that, a little fine-tune that a bit, and she knows what she needs to do. And then the more opportunities we can get her on the mound, I think the better she can fine-tune that, because she's really important.
And then there's Miley Wachenio. Liked her on Thursday night in a closer role. Thought she looked really good. Gave up the grand slam on Friday. Interested to see more of her. Still think there's a lot to like from Miley, and absolutely think that she can be a big part of this pitching staff. Funny looking back now on everything that Patty said this offseason, because she talked more about Audrey Lowry than any other pitcher on the staff. And looking back on it now, it feels like she was saying, without outright saying it, hey, Audrey is our best pitcher entering the season. And it certainly feels that way today. So I think the question moving forward is, you know what you have at number 1. Who else is going to emerge? Because I know that Audrey Lowry is good. I know that she's really good. And every time she's out there, she's going to give OU a chance. But I also know that it can't just be her. We saw that last year with Sam Landry. They want to avoid that at all costs. It's extremely early. We got a lot of time to find these things out, but a big storyline moving forward is who emerges as the other arm that this team can really trust. Quickly, if you haven't liked the video, please do so now. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting on? The season is here. Let's go. Get on it now for more free coverage of OU softball. I think we learned that the freshman class, they are who we thought they were. They're incredible. Wow. Alyssa Parker, I was already very excited about her. Heck, I did an entire video on why I think she's going to be the under-the-radar player for this team. But still, I come out of this weekend saying, I still wasn't high enough on Alyssa Parker, and I still didn't talk about her enough. She looks like she's going to be an absolute superstar. Second game of the season, her OU debut, she's pitching and hitting. And I already mentioned that I thought that she was good in the circle, but that swing is outright incredible. I think moving forward, at least here immediately, she's got to be in the lineup every single day. So much power. Wow. Is she fun to watch at the plate. And defensively, I think she's really good too. Both in the circle, first base, like wherever. So impressed with Alyssa Parker. So impressed with her poise. And I'll say that for every other freshman that we saw this weekend. There was so much hype for this freshman class, and I think they looked the part this weekend for sure. Those were intimidating environments. Patty said the environment at Arizona on Friday got to the team a little bit. But those freshmen, man, they locked in and they did some very good things. Kai Minor looks like everything that we thought, incredibly fast, out there stealing bases on the first pitch, running down balls in the outfield. And then she showed she's got some real power as well. A mammoth home run on Saturday night. That's a 4-year starter for this program. Lexi McDaniel looked great. She hit a home run on Saturday. Still very, very high on her as well. So poised like the rest of the group. And then how do you not love what you saw from Kendall Wells? Like, the next great OU catcher is what it already feels like she's going to be. Game-winning home run in her first game as a Sooner on Thursday. She absolutely crushed that ball. And then just to tie it up on Sunday, need a run here in the top of the 7th inning. One swing, she ties it up. She's special, and I think she's everything that you want at that spot. This freshman class, yes, the ability clearly is so much fun to watch. But I was so impressed with how poised they were in those environments in their first ever action with OU softball. I think we learned that Patty was right once again, that this offense is going to hit a ton of home runs. Not that you ever doubted it, but man, did it show up this weekend. 15 home runs over the weekend. 15 home runs in 4 games. 2 of those games, OU came out incredibly hot with the bats. Multiple instances of back-to-back home runs over the weekend, including on Sunday to win the game. There were home runs over the batter's eye. There were home runs that were opposite field bombs. There were home runs that were pull balls to left field that were absolute no-doubters. This team showed the elite power that Patty was talking about before the season, and it was the newcomers. It was the veterans. It was everyone. So many threats up and down this order to hit home runs. Going to be a lot of moonshots this year for the OU offense. And lastly, I think that we learned that even though Carly Keeney did a very nice job over the weekend, that Jen Roach's presence, it was missed. And I think it's crazy to say that Jen Roach's absence didn't have an impact on the weekend. In fact, I think saying that it had no impact whatsoever, I think saying that is actually disrespectful to Jen Roach's ability and her value to the program. Keeney did great, but Roach is one of the best in the game. Her not being there, of course that had an impact. And let us not forget, can we all remind ourselves, at least for a minute, that these kids are human. They have real human emotions like the rest of us. So when they hear news that their pitching coach is dealing what she's dealing with, that's hard. That's not an easy thing to go through. That's not easy for a young athlete or anyone else of that matter to go through, especially in the opening weekend in those atmospheres. It had an impact, absolutely. And on the case of Carly Keeney, Patty said this about her interim pitching coach.
We had a rough first night here. There was a lot of confusion, and that cost us the game. It was part of it. We've got everything. We sat down as a staff and we talked for about 2 hours on what we could do different. We have two-way radios, so now we can communicate with the dugout, which was a big, or with the bullpen, which was a big problem on Friday night. So we're just talking more and just talking things out and trying to stay on that same page. The first day she was just really tight, and a lot of people are asking her a lot of questions, and it was overwhelming for her. So we've created this little dome around her so that no one can get in except maybe me peeking in on her, but we're gonna trust what she's doing because she's doing a good job.
Thoughts and prayers to Jen Rocha and her family as well. Get well soon, Jen, and let's win for Jen this year moving forward, however long that she's out. Thoughts and prayers to her. She's an awesome pitching coach, incredible person, and I know I and several of you have her in your prayers and are certainly thinking of her, but can't wait until she's back with this OU softball team. And lastly, the star of the weekend, I don't think very many of you are going to disagree with my take here. It's Audrey Lowry. OU was 3-1 over the weekend, and without Audrey Lowry, they probably go 1-3 to start the season. Nobody was more valuable than her. And she did it as a starter, and she did it as a reliever as well. And whereas other OU pitchers struggled because they gave up too many walks, Audrey really didn't. Like, she made hitters earn it all weekend long. She kind of pitched to contact while also forcing weak contact. And with the defense behind her, that's a recipe for success, and she followed that the entire weekend. She was the most valuable player this weekend. Don't think that's the last time we'll be saying that about Audrey Lowry, but really needed her big-time performances. She gave you that as a starter and a reliever. So overall, I think a successful weekend. You took 2 of 3 on the road at a top 20 team, but there's things to work on, and I'm sure Patty Gasso really, really likes that. Please like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well. As always, guys, thank you for watching.